Hi guys, welcome back to my palette collection and declutter for Vlogmas. I'm doing full size palettes now. If you want to see my minis, my smaller palettes, I will have a link up here in the cards so you can go over and watch that. Also, we started A through G and now we're going to continue with H. For H's, I have Huda. And I'm going to start with the Naughty palette. This is the Naughty Nude. And it is stunning. Stunning. I got this in friend mail from Leanna Dalton, one of my best good friends. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've used it a few times now. And it's stunning. I love it. This shade right here is one of my favorites. It is Gorge. That is called Passion. This is called Provocative. And no, I'm not going to swatch every palette. Just the special shades that I absolutely love. Next up is the Rose Quartz. Huda Rose Quartz. None of my Hudas are going anywhere, by the way. This is the Huda Rose Quartz. This was sent to me by a wonderful friend and subscriber, Michelle Nylander. And blown away, both of these, when I got them, blown away. And I freaking love this palette so much. By the way, you're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear me say that a lot. You already have. Those two shades are beautiful. That was Cosmic Love and Blissful. This Moon Magic. Oh my gosh. Just, bah. I can't with those shades. Huda has some of the best shimmers. So that, again, not going anywhere. Next up is the Mercury Retrograde. I got this through, I believe, BoxyCharm for some ridiculous low price, and I love it equally. It's so pretty. Again, shades. Look at these. Ultraviolet. Amazing. Nebula. Oh, the Nebula shade. Oh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. This Cosmic shade has seen a lot of love, as well as the Supernova. And my last Huda palette is the New Nude palette. I do still have the Shade Saver on there, and I just can't bring myself to throw it away because it's just beautiful. So again, my perfect color story, my jam, all day long, my jam. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I got this from Sephora. It was like on sale for $30 or something. Next up, we have the J's, and I have several Juvia's Place. If you saw my minis, you would have seen a few in that as well, but these are the full size. This one is the Nubian Earth. And I've only used this once. I bought this when it first came out. I thought it was beautiful. And Leanna Dalton also bought it, and we did a collab with it. And you guys, it's really nothing special. I have brown palettes that I love so much that I am not going to reach for this. So it is going to be decluttered. Next up is the Magic Mini. And I got this from Ash when they decluttered it. And I love it. It's so pretty. These shimmers are so pretty. They have a beautiful shimmer formula. The mattes are nice. They blend well, which is, that's what I want in a matte. I want it to blend well. But it hasn't been used a lot, but it has been used, and it's very pretty. Next up is the Festival palette. I also got this from Ash. I have not used it. I got it probably close to 2 years ago from Ash. And I said last year that if I didn't use it this year, I was going to declutter it. And I can't bring myself to do it. They're so pretty. Like, why? Why don't I use it? I don't know. So I'm really hoping that because I am getting rid of some bulk in my palette collection, that I will make my way to this. And I'm going to say it again. If I don't use it by next declutter, next year, I'll declutter it. But I'm not yet. Next up is the Nubian 2. This is a classic Juvia's Place palette. I got this in friend mail from Lori Latimer, and it's beautiful. I love using it and keeping it. And my last Juvia's is the Culture palette. And I bought this when it first came out, paid full price for it, and it's stunning. It is such a great palette. I did a collab with Leanna Dalton because she bought it as well. We tend to do that. We both buy the same palette, and then we're like, let's use that for our monthly collab, because Leanna and I do a monthly collab. So yes, it is gorgeous. I love it. This shade here has a flip to it. It's really pretty. Really, really pretty. So yeah, I'm keeping that. Now we are moving on to our L's. First up of the L's is the Lorac Pro Palette Meraki palette. I kept the shade saver for this because that's where the shade names are. I was gifted this by Leanna Dalton. It is one of my favorite palettes. It is my perfect color story. It's a beautiful formula. I use this all the time, and yeah, I'm keeping it. Definitely keeping it. Also gifted to me from Leanna is the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. It has a very similar color story to the Meraki. Very similar. Beautiful formula. I love this palette. And I know you're going to hear that a lot. I do. I love it. I love this palette. It is so just pretty. It is a pretty formula. It's very romantic. It's very, I mean, unless you're going into these deep, deep shades, but like these shimmers are very ethereal. They just have this beautiful glow to them. And I just love them. They are some of the best shimmers. And they're so pigmented. That is staying. Next up is the 12 Days of Lunar. This was the Advent calendar for 2022. And I'm not going to lie, when I first opened this, you opened each door for 12 days, and that was a different shade. I had a lot of thoughts about this palette because I did it on film. I opened them up I opened them all at the same time. And I did not like it. I was very disappointed in the color story. I was like, this is not a holiday palette, blah, 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 blah. I made myself use it. No pan left behind in my deck of panning, because I knew if I didn't do that, I was never going to use it. And I loved it. I used these 4 shades together. I used these 4 shades together. I used these 6 shades together. I used these together. I mean, they're just stunning. Like, they're a beautiful, beautiful palette. And I really like the looks that I did with all of them. So yeah, I'm keeping that. The Lorella Golden State. This palette was a big surprise. I have a very short anecdote about this palette. I got this, not this palette, but I got the Lorella Golden State from a Busy Beauty box. I was making my best friend a birthday box for her birthday 2 years ago, or last year. And I was giving her palettes that I had not used or swatched or anything. Plus I had bought some palettes for her and different beauty items. So I put this in her birthday box. I went back and forth on it, and I'm like, you know what? She would show this more love than I do. Well, after I did that, and after she opened it, I regretted it. I was so sad. I was like, oh, why did I do that? So then I open up friend mail from Cece's Trial Size Life, also panning for goals, and it was this palette. So I was really, really excited. I have used the purples in this more than anything, but I've also used these browns and golds. They're gorgeous. This purple shade right here, WeHo, is so pretty. It's so pretty. So yes, keeping that. Next up is the Lime Crime Venus 3 palette. You guys, I've had this for almost 3 years. I've never used it. I've never used it. I'm going to let it go. I know, lime crime, right? I'm going to let it go because if I want to use mauves, I have palettes that I know that I love, and I would just rather just pass it on, or put it in my Mercari store or whatever. So I'm going to declutter that. Next up is the Laura Geller Nothing But Neutrals. First off, I hate this packaging. The packaging is terrible. I hate it. It's so big and bulky, but I love this palette. Again, cool neutrals. Color story is just spot on. Freaking love it. It's a baked formula, which is something else that I love so much. I love a baked formula. And the shimmers are just so beautiful. The mattes are very blendable. They're not dusty. I've thought very seriously about depotting these. I don't know if they're magnetic. I have a feeling that they're not. But I have little magnets that I can put on the back and put them in a more manageable size palette. But as for now, I'll just leave it the way it is. But yeah, I'm keeping it because I love it. And then I think my last L, this is my last L, is by Lena Beauty. I bought this palette after seeing Erica Conger use it, and this packaging is probably one of the most beautiful in my collection. I think it's just stunning. Lena Beauty is an indie brand, which I love supporting small businesses. So as soon as I saw Erica use this palette, I ordered it before the video was even done. I ordered it. It was only $20. And I had the worst customer service ever. I didn't receive this for almost 2 months. They didn't ship it. I got no response to any of my messages. I was about to do a chargeback on my card. But as of you seeing this video, because I am pre-filming by about a month, as of you seeing this video, I have not used this palette at all. This is in my 50 Shades of Yellow / Gold project pan as a no pan left behind. I'm not sure I will keep it after that. It depends on how, if the quality is amazing, I will keep it. If it isn't, I won't. Because once I get bad customer service from someplace, it's really hard for me to use their product and feel good about it. So I'm not sure. I'm going to keep it. Okay, now we are going to Melt Cosmetics. This is the Rust palette. As you can see, it's barely been used. I did use this shade in my panning, in my Pan Those eyeshadows. I used it for my eyebrows. I had to use it 10 times. And I used it in my eyebrows. It is a gorgeous palette. I think it's beautiful. I just haven't used it. I love Melt's formula. But yeah, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping all my Melt. This is the She's in Parties. And I have used this a few times. I used this in a collab with Erica Conger. We both bought it at the same time. Melt had it like super freaking cheap. And so I think it was like $30. We both bought it. And we did a collab with it. And this is my jam. This is my jam. It's also a beautiful fall-winter palette. Next up is the Smoke Sessions. I got this from a friend. And as you can see, I've not used it. I haven't. I think it's a beautiful color story. I don't know why I haven't used it, but I will use it. And I'm keeping it. And then the last Melt palette that I have is the Amor y Mariposa. And it is just stunning. It's my favorite Melt palette that I have. I love the She's in Parties, but this is my favorite. This was, I believe I got it on sale. It was a limited edition. And I have used it several times, and I have loved every look that I've done with it. And it has a little bit of everything. Like, really, you could use this for any season. Any season. I mean, you can use any of them for any season because no one's the boss of you. But, yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk about the Makeup Institute of Los Angeles. MI Los Angeles. I have these 3 palettes. I have Royal Queen, Boss Babe, and Boss Bitch. Funny thing, I did a collab with Shannon Carroll, and we were using the Boss Bitch, but I thought we were using the Boss Babe. So she did a look with one and I did a look with the other. And I thought that was really funny. But when I did the look with that, I did not like the formula. So these are beautiful palettes. These are beautiful. This has been swatched, but it's never been used. So that's the Royal Queen palette. This one is the Boss Babe palette. It is a red palette. And this is the Boss Bitch palette. And it is a blue palette. Oh, you guys, I'm decluttering all three of them. This has never been used either. The Boss Babe is the only one that's been used. I did not like the formula. There was so much fallout, and I really had to work at getting the look that I did. So, I'm going to declutter. I'm decluttering all three of them. I have purples that I love. I have pinks and reds that I love, and I have a couple of blues, a couple of palettes with blues that I'm keeping because they're great blues. I won't ever reach for those. So they are getting passed on. Okay, now we have Morphe. I have the Cherry Coke palette. I bought this at Marshall's. I don't know how much I paid for it, but I think it was like $7.99. And this is a beautiful color story. I have used it recently, and these are way brighter pink than what you think they would be. I don't know. I don't know about this. I am leaning toward decluttering it, but this is a maybe. We'll revisit. This is the Morphe 24G Grand Glam. This came from Ash. And this is such a great brown neutral palette. There's that pop of like salmon color, but the browns in this, the shimmers in this are beautiful. And I am keeping the Morphe Disney Mickey and Friends Truth Be Told palette. I got this from Ash as well. I have not used this at all. Ash and I have an agreement that we can each, if one of us gifts the other a palette and we don't care for it or we don't want it in our collection anymore, we are free to declutter. No harm, no bad feelings, no feelings hurt. And so I think I am going to declutter this. It's so pretty, but I have all of these shades and other palettes that I know I love. And so I am going to declutter that. And the next one, the last Morphe palette I have, is the Morphe 350. This is what she looks like. I have pan in that shade right there. I don't know if you can see it, but I do have pan in that shade right there. This palette was given to me by my daughter. This was my first big palette, and she was so proud of herself that she had saved the money to buy this for me. This will never be decluttered. I still use it. It's a beautiful formula. I love it. I love these shimmers. These shimmers are beautiful. But I will never get rid of this. I will never get rid of this because it's just very sentimental. Okay, now we are continuing with ends, and this might be our last letter because I have quite a few ends. I have a lot of Nomad. But we're going to start with the Natasha Denona. This is the Natasha Denona Zendo. I got this very inexpensively from the drop shop. This is not my favorite Natasha palette. I don't think the formula is as good as some of her others. It's okay. It's okay. I'm keeping it. I only paid $20 for it, I think. Maybe less than that. I can't remember now. But I'm keeping it. But it's okay. It's a beautiful palette. It's just not as good as some of her others. This is the Retro palette. I got this in friend mail from Laura the Bargain Hunter, Mary Catherine Loves Cats, and Cece for hitting 1K. And as you can see, it has been used and it has been loved, and I love this. It's so beautiful, and the color story is just my perfection. It is my perfect color story. I freaking love it. So None of these are going anywhere. This Natasha Denona Retro Glam palette. I got this in friend mail from Mary Catherine Loves Cats, and you're seeing it untouched. I am filming a Get Ready With Me with this palette next week. As I said, I am pre-filming, so I will be filming a Get Ready With Me next week with this. So it won't be untouched for long because I really want to get in there and I really want to use those shades. Next up is Nomad, and I have quite a few Nomad palettes. I'll start with this one because this one was gifted to me by Mary Catherine Loves Cats too. This is the Nomad Venice Simplin Express. I have used this a couple times. I love these muted, I don't want to say dusty because the formula is not dusty, but the shade itself is a very muted brown, cool brown shade, and they are beautiful. They are beautiful. This shade right here, I love. This shade right here, I love. I haven't used any of these four. This is a very fun shimmer. Has a little bit of a flip to it, which I love, the flippy shades. None of my Nomads are going anywhere. None of them are going anywhere. I love Nomad. This is the Nomad Toscana palette. This is the Tuscany. I got this in friend mail from Erica Conger. She decluttered it. She sent it to me. So it is beautiful. I love it. It's very cool, except for this shade up here is pretty warm. It's a very cool color story, and I love it. Next up is the Marrakesh. This is no longer available. Most of these are not. Some of these are not available anymore. Neither of these are available. I don't know about this one. I know this one's not available anymore. But this is the Marrakesh, and this is probably my most used Nomad palette, just because of all the browns, because that's my kind of go-to, or the neutral shades. But it is a beautiful formula. These are all satins. So to do a full look with this is a little tricky because they're not matte, but they're not so shimmery that you can't use them for a complete look. But I do love that. And next up is my only piece of PR from Nomad. I was so excited to get this in PR. This is the Okavango Safari. This came out in the summer, and I did do a collab with Leanna Dalton with this, and it's gorgeous. It's so rich and warm and amazing, but you have these cool tones as well. And I do have to swatch some of these shades because they're stunning. I love Nomad's shimmer formula. They're beautiful. This palette and the Marrakesh palette are probably the most that are me, like most me. But I love them all. This is the Hudson Valley. This was the fall palette in 2022, and it's beautiful. It has been used, and you have these cool shades here, these warm shades here. There's only 3 shimmers, which I wish there were more shimmers in the palette. I wish they had some cool shimmers, and not just this green, which to me is kind of a neutral. It's almost like a warm green, but I do like the color story. I think it's very pretty. So yeah, I like it. This is the Cartagena Mágica palette. I have used this many times. I used it in a collab with Jennifer Loves Makeup, but I have used this many times and I love it. I love it. I think it's a great summer palette. And we have the Berlin Underground, which is not available anymore. This was my first Nomad palette. I want to say that I got it cheap in BoxyCharm. I feel like I did. I can't remember, but I did a collab with Erica Conger using this, and it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It is that grungy, earthy, like grungy fall, winter. There's some warm shades, there's some cool shades. Yeah, I think I'm really happy. This started my Nomad addiction, and I was really happy about it. Next up is the Nomad Fire and Ice palette. Not used it. It was on sale on the site. I think it was like 25, maybe 30, but I can't remember. And I haven't used it yet. I haven't freaking used it. So, as you're seeing this, I might have already used it in a collab because I do have a collab planned with a certain someone, and I think we decided to use this, but I can't remember. So, there's that. And then we have the Nomad Fête de Provence. This is probably if I had to pick a least favorite Nomad palette, this would be it. Only because this palette confuses me. I have used this palette and I have loved it with other palettes. But you can definitely use these 6 together. But this is a very warm color story, and you could use these 6 together, and you could use these 6 together. But I don't know. It always trips me up when I see it. It always trips me up. So this is probably my least favorite, but the formula is still amazingly beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just color story wise, I get tripped up because I can't get out of my own head sometimes. Okay, so these are some of the larger Nomad palettes. This is the Nomad Haunted Europe. This was given to me. This was given to me by Ash for Christmas or my birthday. It was for my birthday last year. Ash and I did a collab with this for Halloween, and I used these 9 shades. They used these 9 shades, and both of our looks came out amazing. And these shades over here are more my speed. I like them. These are the ones that get used. I've only used a couple of these over here, but yeah, it's a beautiful palette, and I love it. And I was super excited to get it. And then this is the kind of like a sister palette to that palette. It is the Ghost Town USA. And this is a brand new palette. Now, I'm not going to get into it too much, but I did get a replacement palette for the one I bought. I did a 3 looks 1 palette. I had a really hard time. And I felt like the formula just wasn't there. I know Nomad, I love Nomad, and I felt like I got maybe a bad palette or something. So I have not used this yet as of right now. At the end of the month, I do have a collab planned with someone that we are using this palette. So I'll be able to know if it's the formula that just doesn't agree with me or if it was the palette. Can I just say that Nomad has some of the best customer service I've ever had in my life. I sent them a message with my thoughts about the palette because I paid full price for it, and that was it's kind of pricey. And if I pay that much for something and I don't love it, I don't want it. I have returned palettes because I don't like them. So they were so kind to send me a replacement palette. So customer service that is something that I hold very important in a company. And if you have bad customer service, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to buy your product. And Nomad, amazing customer service. Amazing. Okay, my last Nomad palette is the Paradise Islands palette. Oh, you guys. To me, this is the epitome of summer. It is summer. It is gorgeous. And this is one of my favorite Nomads as well. This is my top 2. This is my top 2 Nomads. This shade Whale. It looks like a matte or a satin, but when you swatch it, it's this beautiful, icy, bluish purple. Oh, the shade Shark is also so beautiful. Like the shimmers in this is the Nomad formula that I love so much. That's why I was really confused by the Ghost Town USA, because I have had no problems using any of these other. And this is a beautiful palette. There's so many looks you can do with this. Matter of fact, in the summertime, I might do a 3 looks 1 palette with this, because, yeah. The only thing, if I had to choose one thing, I wish there were a few deeper shades. Like this is a deeper blue and this is a deeper green, but it's not dark. Like for an outer corner. Not every look has to have an outer corner. I know that, but that's just the way I do my makeup. So I just wish there were some really deep shades, although it's a summery palette and maybe you don't want deep shades in the summer. Maybe you don't. Okay, we're going to cut it off right there because I have O's through V's, W's, through W's left, and that's going to be really long. And I have a lot of P's, so I think we're going to cut it off here, but we do need to revisit this. This was my maybe. You guys, I'm going to get rid of it. It's so pretty. I just don't use it. I have other palettes with these shades that I reach for first, and it's not getting any love at all. Like I did use it not too long ago, but it was just okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of it. Declutter. So let's count and see how many we got rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Get rid of 7 palettes. Yay. That makes me happy. It makes me happy that these are going to get new homes and that someone else will enjoy them. So thank you so much for joining me for another palette collection and declutter video. I really appreciate you being here. And until our next adventure, everyone have a great day, and we'll see you later.